Welcome to my YouTube. Today we'll be discussing when to read between the lines. This is a reminder that we're often missing it. Almost always when we're interacting with people or when interacting with the universe. We're just missing it. Why? Don't miss it. It's right there. Every interaction is an opportunity to express the non-dual. If you're new here, hello, my name is Fakery and we like Zen stories. If you like that, subscribe for more. We're getting right into it. Story for this video is Tozan's 60 Blows. Tozan came to study with Unman. Unman asked, "Where are you from?" "From Sato," Tozan replied. "Where were you during the summer?" "Well, I was at the monastery of Hozu, south of the lake." "When did you leave there?" "On August 25th, was Tozan's reply. "I spare you 60 blows, Unman said. The next day, Tozan came to Unman and said, "Yesterday you said you'd spare me 60 blows. I beg of you, where was I at fault?" "Oh, you rice bag," shouted Unman. "What makes you wander about, now west of the river, now south of the lake?" Tozan thereupon came to a mighty enlightenment experience. In this one, Unman, the teacher, is asking a very special type of question to allow his student to express the non-dual. But the student, Tozan, is completely missing it. Tozan is only thinking about the mundane. He's being distracted by the actual semantic meaning of the words. But this should be translated to some scenarios in our life where we have conversations with other people, but we completely miss it. We may be on very different pages of the conversation, and it may be frustrating for one party to even try to correct or try to realign where everybody is in the conversation. And this is where we get to Unman saying that he spares Tozan 60 blows. He doesn't even give him punishment. He's not even worth correcting. He's so hopeless. He's so misguided. He so completely missed the point of the conversation. And then he goes on to say that he's a rice bag, meaning he's completely useless. And then he says, "What makes you wander about, now west of the river, now south of the lake?" And of course, this is another scenario where we may be in, where we have our goals are misaligned with our actions are misaligned with our goals. We're south of the lake one day, we're east of the river or west of the river, whatever. We're going all about the place, but we're not paying attention. We're not really aligned with anything. This scenario can be very well analogized to a situation where people are saying something like they want to build camaraderie, but the way that they do it is by making jokes, really nasty jokes about other people. This is something that a lot of families do, I think. Oftentimes people of different racial backgrounds or maybe different genders or maybe different sexual orientations sort of do this. They tease each other in an effort to build each other up. But oftentimes this teasing leads to certain people becoming alienated. It makes them not feel welcome. And there's a bit of a misalignment with the goal, the stated goal, and the actual actions, and that's causing lots of tension and misalignment. And then once this misalignment happens, it's impossible to convince somebody that that's a bad thing, right? It's impossible to tell somebody that making nasty jokes about women is not an effective way to make women like you. It's impossible to tell people that making racial jokes is a very ineffective way to make racial minorities feel comfortable around you. It's impossible to tell people this, right? So they're not even worth punishing. They're not even worth correcting. It's not even worth the energy of attempting to tell them where they're in error. You're not even worth 60 blows. And then, of course, the people who are making these dirty jokes or whatever, they're going to be confused. Why aren't the minorities wanting to hang out with me anymore? Why don't the women like to be around me after I've made all these nasty jokes? Why did you spare me 60 blows? And then certain people get into that. They get angry and they let their emotions bubble up, so they may call that person a rice bag, and that may lead them to a mighty enlightenment experience, or not. They may point out the misalignment. They may say that, what makes you wander about west of the river and south of the lake, that may lead to enlightenment. Most times that enlightenment stage doesn't happen. And I've been on all parts of this scenario. I've been on all parts of the story, so I've been called a rice bag, and that has led to a sudden mighty enlightenment experience, and other times it hasn't led to that. I'm sure I've missed it many more times than I can even tell you. On to the commentary. If Unman had given Tozan the true food of Zen and encouraged him to develop an active Zen spirit, his school would not have declined as it did. Tozan had an agonizing struggle through the whole night. Lost in the sea of right and wrong, he reached a complete impasse. After waiting for the dawn, he went again to Unman, and Unman made him a picture book of Zen. Even though he was directly enlightened, Tozan could not be called brilliant. Now, I want to ask you, should Tozan have been given 60 blows or not? If you say yes, you admit that all of the universe should be beaten. If you say no, then you accuse Unman of telling a lie. If you really understand the secret, you'll be able to breathe out Zen spirit with the very mouth of Tozan. Mumon is saying that Unman was doing this in a very not effective way. He shouldn't have been, essentially shouldn't have been very frustrated with Tozan, and that led to the decline of his school. And he put Tozan through this terrible experience of wanting to understand what he did wrong, which of course, wanting to understand is not usually a good positive thing in these koans, but wanting to understand what he did wrong, it put him through this agonizing state, which is caused by Unman, and that led to the decline of his school. If you say that Tozan deserved 60 blows, then you admit that all the universe should be beaten. So this is golden right here. So Tozan deserved the 60 blows for missing the conversation, for missing what Unman was really asking. And this seems to happen, again, it happens to me all the time. It happens to lots of people. I've seen it happen to many people. I've been on all sides of the equation here of watching people miss the conversation or missing the conversation myself, and getting to the enlightenment, or watching other people learn and figure out and see what happened. We can understand in a deep Zen sense, right? When we completely understand that everything is missed, then we have an actual, real, deep enlightenment experience. But when we understand that we've missed parts of the conversation, we aren't there yet. There is no actual way to understand what somebody else is saying. There's no way to actually fully grasp what they are trying to communicate. And then there's no way, it's very difficult to communicate for yourself. Tozan is being very, very inauthentic by giving these answers. Of course, we even have stumbles, which I'm doing now. We even have hesitations and stumbles written in the case. So he's saying things like, well, I was at the monastery of Hozu, south of the lake. You know, he's adding on to these things. You want spontaneity with answering these questions. In all of your life, you always want to be spontaneous, completely spontaneous. Whenever most people are interacting with the world, they are missing that spontaneity. They don't have that spontaneity, and they don't have that deeper understanding of what's happening. And then even when interacting with everyday mundane things, we happen to be missing the point. On to Mumon's verse. The lion had a secret to puzzle his cub. The cub crouched, leaped, and dashed forward. The second time, a casual move led to checkmate. The first arrow was light, but the second went deep. So this is a very interesting poem in that it's a very, very clear meaning. It's very simple what he's saying, but he's flipping through different dualities so loosely, so like he's so malleable, just choosing whichever random duality. First it's the cub and the lion, then he's going over to a chess match, and then he's going to somebody getting shot by an arrow and killed. Like he's just bouncing through all these different things. The poem is really clear. It's just difficult to translate into a single duality. He flips through so many at like such rapid speed. But this is just a definite reminder that all of these koans, all of these stories are not meant to be read as literal historical stories that are only in the context of literal historical China with these actual single characters. It's supposed to be multiple characters. It can be a single character and different personalities within that single character. It could be different times. All of these things are supposed to apply to you in your life. And it can apply in many different ways. It could be you with your own goals, all fractured. It could be you. You could be the teacher, or you could be the student. You could be the one missing the conversation. You could be the one who gets frustrated and doesn't doesn't even think that other people deserve to be punished or deserve to be corrected in their missing. All of these are fundamental to the koans, and that's what this poem is pointing towards. And for more Zen stories, this is the playlist that I'm pointing towards, and you can subscribe for more hitting this icon here. Find me on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I will be doing this stuff live, and that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching.